What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing A Court of Thorns and Roses review, okay? So I'm going to give my review on each book, but I'm also going to give you my review on like the order of my favorite books like from the series, okay? I have read them all. I'm super excited for book 6 to come out. So let's get started. I am kind of in a tie between these two as my number one. I do think A Court of Wings and Ruin is my favorite, and I think this would probably be second, but like they're kind of both ones, but for the sake of the review, this is number 2. So ACOTAR is absolutely divine. I ate this freaking book up. I loved the character dynamics in this book. I loved the flirtation and the romance, but I also loved how there was a lot of adventure in this one. I also loved how long it was because I never got bored, and I love a good book that is long as it holds my attention span, and I never got bored. I never needed to sit it down. Like I just was eating through it. Like I couldn't put the book down. So I absolutely love this one. I love that we were getting a little bit more of the dynamics between Cassian and Nesta, and Az and Elaine, and obviously the dynamic between Feyre and Rysand kept going on. So love this book. I will reread this one. I don't even know how many times. So good. Absolutely loved this book. I equally could not set this book down. This to me had a little bit more romance in it and less action, kind of. It still was action, but I feel like this one was just like way more action in my eyes. But I still love this one. A lot of action in it, a lot of romance, which I ate up in this book. And I loved the dynamics between the sisters in this book. I loved getting to see some of that. That was super fun. So this was heavily my number 2. And then my number 3 is gonna be this one. My number 3 is A Court of Thorns and Roses, because obviously it started it all. This was a fantastic book. A lot of people say it's like slow to get into. I absolutely did not feel that way. I thought this was a freaking amazing book. I was super, from chapter 3 or 4, like zooming in. I mean, to chapter 1 to 4, was that a little slow? Sure, but that to me doesn't equate slow. I mean, you can't just say a book is phenomenal because you love it from chapter 1 on. I think sometimes when you're picking up a new series, it's okay for the first like 5 to 7 chapters to feel a little slow. You're learning the characters, the vibes, the storyline, the plot, the area around you, and like the way they're setting things up. So like it's gonna feel a bit slow. So I don't know, I didn't mind that. But by the time I got to like chapter 4, I couldn't put this book down. I think I read this book in a day. I was obsessed. My eyes were the color of this book. Like I couldn't stop reading. I read this whole series in like under a week. I have a sickness, okay? And I'm rereading it currently. Love this. This is amazing. This got me back into reading after a little slump, and I just absolutely, my life is A Court of Thorns and Roses series right now, okay? So I am a bit depressed because it's over and I'm rereading it for the 2nd time, and I know I'm not going to reread it for a 3rd time because I just need a break, but like I honestly don't want to read anything else, so it's depressing, but freaking love it. Okay, then we have the beloved A Court of Silver Flames, which I know is everyone's favorite. I know it is. I know a lot of people love this or A Court of Wings and Ruin. Do not get me wrong. I loved this book. I loved it, okay? This is a divine masterpiece. It really is, okay? And I know that the people are going to come for me. I know they are. I do not hate Nesta, okay? I do not hate her. I understand her. But she's not my favorite character. Therefore, this is not my favorite book. But I love Cassian and Nesta, and I do love Nesta. Do I agree with all of her actions? Do I think that she's a bit dramatic? Do I think that People give her a little bit too much leeway on certain things. Yes, but I still love her. I love her. I think she's strong. I think she showed up for her family when she needed to. But the problem is, I think she does that almost when it's a little too late. And I think people, want to hate on Feyre and the rest of the gang for like not helping her, but I feel like they tried and she shut them all out. Like she wouldn't let them help her. And sometimes when that happens, you kind of have to be the evil person to help someone. And so I think that's what they became. They were like, well, if you're not going to let us help you, we're going to make you because you're not well. So do I think that they made the best decisions? No, but I think they were just trying their best with someone who really put up the biggest wall and was not letting anything in at all. So I think that's where my issue with this book is a little bit. I still loved it. I read it super quick, thought it was really fun, but I think just the dynamic between Nesta and the gang was just a little rough for me because I didn't 100% agree with some of the way things were handled in the book, but that's just me. But I still loved it, still love her. She's awesome. She's strong, love what she did for the ladies and helping them train, and I think she has a good heart. But it's like one of those things where just because you're hurting doesn't mean you can like cut the people around you, you know what I mean? And I think she's hurting and she has a lot she needs to deal with, but that's fine. But I think she does cause Feyre a lot of unnecessary pain. That's not to say that Feyre is perfect, but I think Feyre can be accountable for the fact that like she knows she's not, and I think she would be willing to meet Nesta halfway if Nesta was, but Nesta's a bit hard-headed. She's not, I think, ready to maybe enter into the world of the conversations those sisters need to have yet. But I do love her, and I think she does have a good heart, and I think she wants to be a good and better person. I think she's just struggling with that, and there's a lot of resentment on her side to her sister for some reason. And maybe we'll figure that out in Elaine's book. But I loved Nesta and Cassian's story. I am a Nesta and Cassian shipper. Without that in this book, I probably would have been a little bored with just Nesta's story. But I love them. I think they're a super fun dynamic. I know some people hate them and hate Cassian, but I think Cassian was her saving grace. I think he was exactly what she needed, and I think he tried to put himself out of the equation and be there for her in whatever way she needed. And so I love them. I think that was a genuine love story and really appreciated it. Last and not least, A Court of Frost and Starlight. I'm reading this one now. This is where I am in my reread. I ate the first 3 books up. I read them in like 4 or 5 days. I've been on this one for like a week. I'm still on chapter 1. I don't like this book. I know a lot of people love this book. They think it's amazing. I think you could literally skip this book and go straight into A Court of Silver Flames and be just fine. Is there some information you may miss in this book that's important? Just a little bit? Maybe, but do I think if you didn't know about this book that you would be just fine without reading it? Yeah. This book is boring to me. It just felt like it does. I heard a couple people say that it felt like a cash grab, and I have to agree. It felt like this is something she threw out. I feel like it's a lot of repetitive information because of the lull between the books that she thought, maybe I'll just throw some things out there to like get people's minds remembering of what is going on. I don't really know. I just know that it's a little hard for me to finish this book. I honestly may skip it and just go straight to this one because I do love this book despite what y'all might think. I love it. I just am doing a review and I have to tell you what I like the most. But I still, if I did a complete reread of the series, I would always read this book. I would never not read it. I had fun. I read it super quickly. I devoured it. It's just not my favorite, but I still love it. I don't like this one. I'm struggling to get through it. Now, I haven't read it in a couple months, so I could be a little biased, but I will say the one thing I like about this one is the alternate thought points from everybody's view. I love different POVs in books when they give you different POVs from different characters. So I do pray that's something she continues into some other books that she has. Loved that from this, but other than that, just didn't really care for it. After I read this again, and I am done because I am gonna read it, I will give an updated view on how I feel about this book. But right now, I don't need it. Okay, now we're gonna do our stars. So this, out of 5 stars, this is a heavy 5-star for me. I'll give it a 4.5 actually. 4.5 just because it was a little slow at first and you're trying to get to know the characters, yada yada yada, but 4.5 stars for me. This was phenomenal. 5 stars. 100%. 5 freaking stars. 5 stars. Loved this book so much. 6 stars. Absolutely 6 stars. Don't need to say anything else. And I'm gonna give this one a 4.5 because I loved it. I did so much, but it did not change my life. I 100%, this was not my favorite story to be told. It was a great book. Loved it. Loved the action in it. Loved this relationship storyline. Loved the fact that they had to like go and do the fighting between Gwen and Nesta and who was the third girl? Whatever third girl had to go with them. I'm blanking. But I loved the details. I just didn't like Nesta's arc completely. I feel like the writer is doing Nesta a little dirty and making her the hated character. And I hate that for her because I want to like her. I want to love her. But there's just that small little thing where I'm just like, oh, Nesta. So I'm gonna give that 4.5 stars. This I'm going to give right now, I think it could be like a 3 or a 3.5, but I'm gonna give it a 2.5 right now because I can't even get past chapter 1. So this is gonna have a 2.5 until I finish my reread and I make a new decision. But other than that, you guys, I'm so sad. I don't know what to do with my life right now. This has been my life for like the last 6 months. And I'm just so depressed, but everyone keeps saying start Throne of Glass, so I guess that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll come on here with updates of reading Throne of Glass with you guys, okay? I love you. Go read a book. Bye. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my